Hello friends, it's Chris from IELTS Daily and we are back with a pronunciation video. It is a busy class today because we have about 188 words to go through. That seems like a lot. We're going to go through really quickly, but the first things first is the C words are really difficult. Some of them, the stress changes, so please pay attention. Don't forget that we have lots of resources, model answers, videos on the IELTS Daily website. So without further ado, let's begin. We're looking at C words today. The first word is going to be cabin, cabin, cabin. That's an easy one. The next word is cage, and this is quite difficult for people who have the difficulty with the hard ch sound. So this would be cage. Now we've got calculate, calculate, and it's calculate, not calculate, 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 and calculation, calculation. The next word is calendar, and notice at the very end we have the schwa. It's calendar, not calendar, but calendar. And the stress would be on the first, so it's calendar. The stress is over here. Great. Next word is call. That's nice and easy, but this one is difficult because it has the silent L in the middle. This is a silent L, and it's calm, calm. Imagine that L is an R, so calm. This one, lots of people say camera, camera. It's literally just camera. We have almost a silent E in the middle, camera. So I just bought a new camera, and this E would be removed. Next word is campaign, campaign. It's a silent G, campaign. And then we have cancel, cancel. Candidate. This is a difficult one because people say candidate, candidate. Normally the schwa would appear here, so it's just candidate, candidate. Great. Capability, capability. What are your capabilities? Capability. And capable. Are you capable? That's an adjective, capable. Next word is capacity. Notice here how we go from capable with the stress at the beginning to the next word, which is capacity, and the stress goes right in the middle, capacity. Now we have captain, captain, and lots of people might say captain. The stress is actually at the beginning of the word, so it would be captain, and it's this schwa again, captain. Carbohydrate, carbohydrate. It looks like a long word, carbo, and there's a schwa here. Carbo, not carbo. Carbohydrate. Carbon. The stress is at the beginning. Carbon. Carbon dioxide. Carbon. This one is difficult for many people, which is career. Career. K, not ka. Career. The stress is actually over the ear. Career. And carrot, the stress moves now to the beginning, so it's carrot, and the schwa is over the O, carrot. Casual, 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 and the stress would be here, casual. This is, you do have to pronounce these two here, so it's casual. Casualty, casualty. Category. So again, we almost lose this O sound here, so it's category. So the stress is at the beginning, and we just say category, and we almost lose the O completely. It disappears. Great. Cause, cause. And the noun for that would be causality, causality. So it's the cause and causality. This word means stop, stop, and it's the word cease, cease. And you could talk about at war there would be a ceasefire. A ceiling, and a celebrity, celebrity. Central, central, again there's a schwa right here, so it's not central, but it's central, central. Ceremony, and the stress is here, ceremony. Certain, certain, and the schwa would be over the A, so we would have a schwa just here. Certain, and you could also say certainly, certainly, and the noun would be certainty, with all certainty. Again, we've got the certainly here, and challenge, challenge. The stress would be here, challenge, and there would be a schwa, challenge, not challenge. Channel, the stress is here, so it's channel. And this one is character, so character, so the stress would be here, character, so character. And looks like a long word, but it's characteristic. The stress moves a little bit, it's characteristic, so the stress would be here, characteristic. There is a little bit of a stress here, so it's a word which almost has two stresses, so it's characteristic, so there's almost two stresses in that word. And characterize, so characterize, there'll be two stresses here. Charity, and this one's difficult for many people, it's chef. So the CH in this example becomes chef, and you will notice very soon that we have another word which looks really similar. Don't confuse this word. This word is chemical, so we go from a sh sound to a k sound. This is a k, this one is sh, and this one is k, so this is chemical. And again we've got chemistry with a k. Now we have a ch sound, so we've got so this is why the CH sounds are really difficult, because we have sh, we have k, and we have ch. So this is chew, and this one looks very much like our chef, but this one is actually chief, means the main one. Chocolate, very common mistake. Lots of people say chocolate, but it's actually, you remove a syllable, chocolate. So we remove this altogether. So it would be chocolate. We've got the word choice, and we have the word cholesterol. So cholesterol. Now we've got the word choose. So we had the word choice. You have a choice. Now you must choose, which is a verb. This word is chronic, which means long-term or sustained, so it's chronic pain. And cigarette, so we've got the schwa in the middle. Circuit, and to cite something, which means to reference it, to cite. We've got a citizen, and we've got the schwa at the end, so it's citizen, the stress is at the beginning, citizen, and clearly. This word depends on where you come from. So American English, you might say clerk, or you might say clerk in British English. It just depends, and you can say both. So clerk or clerk would be possible. This word is the word client, and climate. Lots of people say climate, but it's actually a schwa. So you would have cli, and then we've got the schwa here, which is mut, climate. Great. This is clinic, and we've got closest. This word means wardrobe in British English, but Americans would say closet. And this one is really difficult for many people. It's difficult for many native English speakers as well. It's clothes. And we've got the word clothing. And the noun would just be cloth when you have the single word, which is something that you clean with, some cloth. This is a coach, and coast. A coin is something that you spend, and when you work together, you have collaboration. So the stress would be here. So it's collaboration. Wonderful. To collapse, to collapse. So the stress is here. To collapse. Great. And we've got the word, this is really difficult for many people, colleague. So the stress goes here, and it's not college, because college sounds a little bit like college. So please pay attention to this one. It's colleague. Great. Now we've got the word college. So it's the I sound that goes here. It's an I sound, college. So don't lose that one. And column. So we've got the silent N at the end. It's silent. Column. Comfortable. You could contract it to say comfy. So comfortable. Do you remember how we lost a sound before? We do the same thing here. So it's comfortable. Not comfortable. Comfortable. Now we have commercial. So the stress is here, and we've got a schwa at the beginning. So it's commercial, and it's not commercial. So it's commercial. So the C sound becomes a sh sound. Commercial. And we've got the word commit, and the stress goes at the end. So it's commit. And then we have commitment, so the stress goes in the middle, commitment. And a committee is a group of people who are formed together to maybe solve a problem or work on a project, a committee. Commonly, so the stress would go here and you would have a schwa, commonly. Compare, and we'd have the word comparison. Please note here how the stress changes. So to compare, the stress would be at the end, and comparison goes in the middle, a comparison. To compete, so the stress is at the end. Compete, and competition, stress goes right here, competition. So we have to compete and competition. And competitive, so the stress moves a little bit, so you have competition and you have competitive. Notice how the stress moves from the I to the E, competitive. Then we've got a competitor. A competitor is somebody who competes in a race or a competition. Then we have to complain, and a complaint, This is complex. It's a complex situation, but note please how the noun changes to complexity. Please note this one, it's really important. So it's a complex situation, and then you have complexity. Next we have compliance, so the stress goes in the middle. There's compliance, and to comply, the stress moves to the end, to comply. To compose, and then you would have a composition. Please note that there's a big stress difference here. So you have to compose, and there would be a composition. Then we would have to comprise. Now we're moving into the OM, the COM words, the COM words. You will notice here that the stress moves very often, and it's not always the same rules which apply. Then we have compromise. Notice how the stress moves to the beginning. So to compromise. So we have to comprise and compromise. To concede, the stress moves to the end. Then we have to conceive. It means to think about, what can you conceive of? A concept, that's an idea. Do you have any concept of this? And then you have conception. Notice here how the stress changes. We have a concept, then we have a conception. Concern, and to be concerned with something. So we have concern and to be concerned with. We're about halfway through now, which is great. I just want to tell you, as we're halfway through, don't forget that on the IELTS Daily YouTube page, you can become a member. You will have an opportunity to get writing subscriptions, to get your writing checked. All you need to do is join the channel. You'll find that on the front page, and click the join. Unfortunately, in some countries, it's not possible. It's not always possible because of the limitations on YouTube. Right, let's get back to it, and we'll go to the next word, which is concerning. It's really concerning, so the stress moves. So we have concern, concerned, and concerning. Then we have a concert. Then we have concrete. We're at word 100 now, which is the word to condemn. And it's useful to know that we have the word condemnation, and the stress would move completely there. So it's condemn and condemnation. A conference, the stress moves to the beginning, conference, and to confirm, the stress moves to the end. So we have conference and we have confirm. Then we would have a confirmation. I don't think I have that on here, but it's to confirmation. The stress moves to the end, confirmation. Then we have to confront, and confrontation. So it would be similar to the words, so to confront and confrontation. Conscience is a really difficult word for many people to pronounce. So we have the sh. So it's not conscience, it's conscience. So the stress would be at the beginning, and then we have the sh sound, conscience. And this would be conscious. Conscience and conscious have different meanings. Some people confuse them, but they have different meanings. And this would be consciousness. So the stress would be at the beginning. So we have the person is conscious, then we have consciousness. consensus. Is there a consensus among people? So consensus. To give consent. So the stress is here. To give consent. And here's a consequence. What are the consequences of your actions? Consequence. Consequently would be the same stress at the beginning. So consequence and consequently. Then we have to consider. So then we've got the stress in the middle, to consider. Then we have considerable, the stress is here, so we have consider, and then we have considerable, and then we have consideration, then we have consideration. So the stress moves a little bit, so considerable and consideration. To consist, the stress is here, to consist, and to be consistent, to be consistent. Consistently, the stress stays in the same place, so we have to consist, consistent, and consistently. A conspiracy, the stress stays in the middle, so a conspiracy, and constant, constant. To consult, the stress would be at the end, to consult, and you would have a consultant, the stress would be here. To consume, consume, and a consumer. Then you would have consumption, and the stress moves here, so you have to consume, a consumer, and consumption. To contemplate, the stress is at the beginning. Then we have contemporary. Notice how the stress is in the middle. So something which is modern would be contemporary. Then we have a contest, it's like a competition. And continuing, the stress is here, continuing. Then you have continuous, you've got the stress which is here, so it's a continuous event. Then we have contrast. You could have a verb which is to contrast. Please notice here that some verbs change if it's some words change. If it's a noun, then it would be contrast. But if it's a verb, it's to contrast. Notice how the verb changes. So you would have the stress at the beginning for the noun and the stress at the end for the verb. And that happens in quite a few words actually. So contribute, the stress is at the beginning, contribute, and then you have contribution, the stress changes. So contribute, contribute you could also say. Some people also do say to contribute. So it is possible to say that. So contribution. Then we have contributor. Notice here how you have the stress in the middle. A contributor. Controversial. The stress is in the middle in this word. So controversial. Controversy. And convenience. And it would be conversation for this word. So conversation. Do you have many conversations with your friends? Conversion, and to convert. To convey, and a convict. That's a difficult one, a convict. And the stress moves here when you have a convict and then you have conviction. To convince, and to cooperate. Notice that you have this w sound in the middle. To cooperate, to cooperate. Then you have cooperation. The stress moves, so you have to cooperate and then you have cooperation. Cooperative, and your stress would be here. Cooperative. To coordinate, and coordinator. To cope with something, and corporate. So the stress would be at the beginning. It's a corporate world. Corporation. So here we've got corporate and then you have corporation. Notice how the stress changes. Correct. The stress is at the end. And correlation. To correlate. Correspondent, and to correspond. A costume. This is very difficult for some people. So a costume is a piece of clothing that you wear that's maybe looks different. It could be a costume party that you go to. And a cottage. Notice here how the A becomes an I sound. Cottage. It's like the words baggage that we discussed in our previous class. So cottage. Then we have cotton, and we've got the word couch. Could, and counsellor. Then we've got a coup. Got a silent P. We don't say the P, so it's coup. Then we've got the word court, and the word cousin, cousin. Please notice how it's not cuisine, it's cousin, cousin. Forgive me, I just made a mistake. 166. I think, there we go. Coverage, coverage, coverage. And we've got the word age again, so it's coverage. And I think actually we should do the stress at the beginning. So coverage, that was my mistake. Then we've got the word cow, cow, and crawl, crawl. This one's difficult. It's to create, create. And so the stress would be in the middle, to create, and creation, creation, creative. Do you know any creative people in your lives? This one, the stress changes. Notice how we go from creation, creative, but creativity, creativity. Then we've got credibility, credibility, and criminal, criminal, criminal. The stress might be somewhere in the middle, criminal, and actually it's at the first part, it's just here, criminal. Then we've got critical, which is just here, and criticism, criticism. Then to criticize, to criticize, to criticize. A crowd of people, and something which is crucial. So notice that the C sound here is the hard sh sound, crucial. And something which is cruel, cruel. This one's difficult for many people. It's a cruise, a cruise. Are you going on a cruise? So we have this ooze sound. Cultural and culture, they should be quite easy for you. If you want to cure somebody, you fix or you mend you solve a problem with their health. To cure. Curiosity, curiosity, curiosity killed the cat, as we say in English. Just a few more to go now, and it's the word curious, curious. We've got the word currency, currency, and the word curriculum, curriculum, curriculum. Then we've got the word curtain, curtain. It's not curtain, curtain, it's curtain. And last but not least, it is the word cycle. You could talk about having a cyclist or a bicycle, a bicycle. Lots and lots of useful words there. I do hope you found these useful. And don't forget, as I mentioned, you can come over to the IELTS Daily YouTube page. We have lots of videos. This is the letter C in the whole series. We're going to do all the letters of the alphabet, looking at some of the most difficult words that you will find in English. Thanks for watching today, and I look forward to seeing you in the free class. Take care.